Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett has just become ground zero for what may be the most explosive political scandal in recent memory. A federal investigation has uncovered shocking evidence of systematic election fraud. And tonight, we're going to walk you through the damning paper trail, the deliberate cover-up at the highest levels, and why this case could potentially bring down multiple politicians when all the facts come to light.
We requested from Treasury during the Biden administration to see whether or not there were bank violations called suspicious activity reports against ActBlue. Of course, they never would get back with us. Finally, after the election, they confirmed that there were some. They allowed my staff to go in and view like 10 or 12. They were really bad, but I can say with confidence there are hundreds more. And now with the new Trump administration, we're going to be able to go in there and look at them. I think we'll be able to answer a lot of questions.
Yeah, hundreds more. That's amazing to think about. Have you received a response to your letter last week to the Treasury Department?
Yes, it's a whole different ballgame for me on the Oversight Committee. The Trump administration actually responds to our request for information. Obviously, they're new and getting their, figuring out where the bathrooms are and trying to get a handle over everything. But I'm very confident that the Oversight Committee will be allowed in to view those suspicious activity reports. And the fact that there are so many shows that the banks were suspicious of a lot of activity. And what we believe is what's been reported and suggested on a lot of conservative channels over the years is that this money wasn't actually coming from John Doe and Jane Doe sitting at home donating $10 every week to every Democrat candidate running for every office in America. We always suspected that there was an influx of cash coming in from other ways. And the way ActBlue set up their account, it would be very easy to launder money into there through fake credit card accounts and fake names and things like that. So the banks, by virtue of catching so many violations from so many different banks, which would suggest to me these were credit cards, I think that we're going to be able to find out where the source of a lot of this money was coming from.
The Federal Election Commission's report reads like a crime novel. They've documented over 50, that's 50, completely fraudulent donations to Crockett's campaign, all funneled through ActBlue under a single innocent citizen's identity. But here's what should make every American's blood run cold. This wasn't some clerical error. The patterns show clear intent, identical donation amounts, sequential timestamps, and digital fingerprints pointing to coordinated manipulation. This is industrial-scale election fraud hiding in plain sight, and investigators believe these 50 cases are just the beginning. Now brace yourself for the cover-up. For 3 long years, the House Oversight Committee practically begged the Biden Treasury Department for access to the suspicious activity reports on ActBlue. They were stonewalled at every turn. Why? Because those reports contained a smoking gun, hundreds of bank-flagged transactions, showing the same fraudulent patterns we're now seeing in Crockett's case. This wasn't about protecting privacy, it was about protecting a sophisticated financial operation that was pumping millions in fake donations into key progressive campaigns. When Elon Musk recently exposed ActBlue's donor lists, the truth became undeniable.
If ActBlue and Arabella Networks...
ActBlue is a huge scam, next level.
Do you think it's foreign money, Chinese money? Where do you think the money in ActBlue is coming from? And how do you figure that out?
Well, it's not coming from a whole bunch of, from a groundswell of public support. Yeah. Because when individual donors are looked at in ActBlue, they eventually turn out to be like diehard Republicans, right? People that have never given money in their life. So you're going to track down a bunch of these people where it says, oh, I gave $16,000. And they're like, I didn't give $16,000. What are you talking about?
Well, if those
Republican friends of mine found themselves on the ActBlue list, they're like, it definitely wasn't me. So that's...
If it can actually be shown that they are funding firebombing of Tesla charging stations, that's objectively a criminal act. That is funding terrorist activity. Right. And the statutes make clear that an incendiary device qualifies. So
Bringing
that's a
things
big
down
deal.
is a terrorist activity. Yeah.
One retired Marine and Trump volunteer nearly had a heart attack when he saw $16,000 in his name. But the real shocker, forensic accountants are now tracing some of these exact same fraudulent donations to bank accounts funding the extremist groups attacking Tesla facilities. This has gone far beyond election fraud. We're looking at what appears to be a domestic terrorism financing scheme